I'll be right back. I don't know.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, approval amendment of meeting agenda items. Mr. Cahill, do we have any additions or changes?
No, we do not.
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes for June 27th, 2016 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the meeting minutes from the 27th of June. All those in favor? Motion carries. Correspondence.
Well, I've been very lucky to have some good news the last two meetings, and here we go again. Had a wonderful group of people who have really done an outstanding job on the wellness program the last couple, 3 years. And we received a letter from OEA Choice, Maureen Caldwell, congratulating us on the great work we've done, and then they show it to you. I won't read it, but I will read the letter. They put out this wonderful testimonial to districts and public entities across the state telling the Lake County School District story as far as the success of our wellness program. So read this at your leisure. It's a very fine document, and I'm very proud of our wellness committee. As far as the letter, I'll go ahead. I'm pleased to read it. And here goes. Dear Superintendent Cahill, we hope this email finds you well and filled with satisfaction from a fulfilling school year. Last fall, OEA Choice Trust partnered with the RMC Health to write a success story to showcase the Lake County School District's thriving employee wellness program. From your district, Brandy Harris, Jackie Robinson, Steve Prock, Katie McGailey, and Diane Hamilton joined OEA Choice Trust and the RMC Health staff for an interview to help us capture what sets your program apart. As part of our process, we shared a draft with Brandy for feedback to validate the content and ensure the story was accurate and satisfactory. On behalf of OEA Choice Trust, we are delighted to present you with your district's official school employee wellness program success story. We invite you to share your story with your district and community and celebrate your program's success. We hope that this published story will further your program's sustainability efforts and shine the light on what school employee wellness means to Lake County School District. Again, congratulations on your district's powerful story. Your school employee wellness program is making a positive difference in the lives of your employees, and as superintendent, your leadership has played a pivotal role. This story will inspire others and demonstrate the positive impact that school employee wellness programs can have on individuals, schools, and communities. Wishing you a rejuvenating summer. Holly Sprintz and Inga Aldra Weiss, I hope I got that right. So, anyway, kudos to, Brandy and Jackie and Steve and Katie and Diane and everybody that's been in, all of our district employees have been involved enthusiastically in this program. I'm very proud of them all, and to be a showcase school district, speaks well of our group and of our program, and like I said, I'm extremely proud of all these folks, and great job.
Yeah, it's a great article. Public comment? Reports. Oh. She was not here.
Yeah,
Last week.
she may have forgotten, so we may, if she does not show, we may have to
Okay.
put her off to the next meeting, so.
RTI's report.
Mrs. Warner.
In April, we took the majority of all of our new teachers. We had one new teacher that couldn't go to our response to intervention conference in Eugene. And the teachers came back, the younger teachers especially that went to it, came back really excited. And so we had some staff discussions about how we wanted to proceed forward with response to intervention. And for some of our new board members, I'm going to explain just a little bit so I don't bore these guys. Response to intervention is the collection of data from EasyCBM. We're required to use a progress monitoring tool 3 times a year. We use a program called EasyCBM, and the kids are on the computer to assess reading and writing skills and math. And we use that data and we meet quarterly to look at where they're at in achieving those skills. And then from that, they're put into different groups according to their risk for not being successful in reading or math. So this system works fairly well to help screen kiddos and provide interventions in math and reading before ever possibly entering a special ed situation or something along those lines. And Mr. Cahill had brought it into the elementary school with a team of teachers, and it's been in the elementary intact for quite some time in reading. Math we've struggled with a little bit more just because we lack some staffing and some budgetary constraints. But when we came back, we had some staff discussions about how to improve this. We felt like our reading was in pretty good shape. We needed a little bit more training, so we're going to build some trainings in for our aides in how those interventions work and how best to administer them on a more uniform basis instead of one-on-one training. But we still hadn't addressed math. We struggled the most in our application of math to meet Common Core standards in the areas of math sense and math facts and number sense. Our elementary teachers have worked really hard to grasp how to teach math in a little bit different way to do applications with our discussions around Engage New York that we've had. At the RTI conference, they attended a session with a gentleman named Steve Wyborning, who's a coach, a math coach in Ontario. And Steve is a very accomplished young man who has written all kinds of math books for scholastic books as well. He took a couple years off from teaching. And so he's going to join us at In-Service Week and come down specifically for our elementary teachers to help improve our RTI process in math. And that's one of the ways we're kind of trying to think outside the box because we can't include more staffing, but we can train everybody and do a better job in getting everybody on the same page and teaching some of those things the same way. And then Teresa Whitman will help us throughout the year to employ some of these strategies that he gives us. So we're excited about what we have to come this next year. Questions?
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Old business.
I have no, Madam Chair.
New business. Mr. Hamilton.
We're in handbook mode, so Mr. Hamilton.
Okay.
Fine.
You have a copy of the updated student handbook. If you go through that, all the changes are in red. So I'm just going to step through it real quick. There's not a time with you guys, and if there's any questions, kind of. The first one's on page 3. Pretty self-explanatory. We're going to add Barry there as one of the board members. So.
But it's not too late. If it's not in the handbook, it's not final.
I'm going to take you to page 7 now. This one is one of the ones that we've talked about a lot in the years past. And as you can see, the fees section is much shorter. We've eliminated virtually all the fees minus a student body card. Just for, I think it's going to make things a lot easier logistically. You know, I know there's a lot of confusion on some of those, where that went, well, you know, and so we've decided to eliminate those. You'll notice below that participation fees stay the same. We left those, so those aren't in red, but we just eliminated all those fees that were previously there.
What's the activity fee? Oh, per activity, like per
Where are we at?
field trip or?
under the participation fees below. Is that what
Yeah,
you're talking about?
yeah.
This one, activity.
Oh, I gotcha. Those would be, what's a good example?
FFA.
FFA, $40 fee there, yeah, those are activity fees, or something like that.
So they're not OSW sponsored.
Right.
Sports.
Like the others, like the club stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a cap at 300?
Yep, family cap.
For all fees or just sports fees?
That's a good question. I would assume for all fees, but maybe it's for, I don't know what the past practice has been, to be honest with you.
Just athletics?
I think it's just been.
Is it just been athletics? Okay.
Yeah.
I've hit it a few times.
So,
Yeah.
a couple kids in high school, that adds up fast.
Yeah.
So, that cap will be, so. Any other question on the fees?
Is it require band, what else besides FFA? I'm trying to think of what. Is it any CTE classes? No?
There really wouldn't be anything else besides FFA that we charge a $40 activity fee for.
I've never paid one for anything else.
Art.
I don't, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the other ones are curriculum.
That was one of those mini fees that we took out, was art
Art,
and,
wood shop, and metals is what was taken
Yeah.
out.
And word processing your computer or something.
And the
Yeah,
tech
the
fee
tech fee.
was taken out also.
Yeah.
We started clubs that
I
participate
know.
in things.
I was gonna say the towel.
So we're saying the $40 is only art?
Participation.
It must just be.
Yeah.
Should we just write
those
FFA?
club sports.
Just
What do we
change
have
it
to
to
$100?
If you had a club,
$200 for required ventilation.
The FFA,
So-
Field trip.
the FFA thing usually involves state and national games, local games, and occasionally, the FFA jackets.
There they are.
Separate.
Oh, that you've
So-
already printed these?
We took out shop fee, art fee, technology fee, culinary arts fee, the ag welding fee, the annual fee.
That's something they buy.
That's something they buy, it's optional, class fee and construction. So basically all those little ones that we've had numerous discussions about, and we took those out.
Well, maybe just to be more clear for us parents, then just make it the FFA $40 fee or something. Right? Because that's the only one that because it's not per activity, that's what we're saying. So you
Yeah.
don't have parents going, well, what else is $40?
Well,
That's all
let me
I'm
look
saying.
into that. Let me, before I say
Double
that that's
check.
the only one that falls under that category,
Okay.
before I would wanna take that out. But,
There's nothing with student council or.
If you did
Not-
speech and
not that.
debate team, if you did those kinds of things, that would fall under that.
all right. Now, I don't think there's any changes until,
Seems like we probably ought to clarify on that fees whether the activity falls underneath the cap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Sports.
It's not clear though, it seems like if you hit $300 in any way, shape or form, it'd be $300.
I can add, I
And
can,
cake?
it's for, I mean, I can add athletics in there if that, for, I mean, maximum for athletics. But, that is true, it does say K-12.
It says K, yeah, that's kind of,
Or just cap it, I mean, we're only looking at FFA as being
Yeah.
the only other thing.
Yeah,
I mean, is it really?
I don't know, what's the, it says K-12, so it's obviously been in there for, do you know what the past has been on that?
Well, it shouldn't be anything in K6, there are no activity fees or anything like that in K6.
Okay.
Well, you used to pay $100 to union, but that was with
first-
half
That
age
was, that was,
kindergarten.
that was only that kindergarten. fee.
Well, is it left over from when we
That's it.
had sixth grade sports? Because that was an activity fee?
No, the sixth grade sports were either we used to set a fee individually on each
Each
sport.
sport, right,
There
like
was
$10
never
a
never a
class,
big
yeah.
pay to play.
I don't know.
We'd
what
roll
it's
out an intramural sport,
I don't know.
and then we would send a letter home, and parents would pay a separate fee on those sports.
Right, with the permission slips or something.
Yeah, so I don't get the K-12.
I'll clean that before we.
Yeah.
If we're going on a tangent, isn't DMS basketball gonna be underneath the school now?
Mhm.
But it's through Klamath Basin still, isn't it?
The league we play in is in Klamath, yeah.
Is there a
So we're not gonna pay dues, I mean, the
It's the
school isn't gonna
BMS
pay
sport.
dues to Klamath?
Yeah, they're gonna charge us, yeah, there's a league, there's a team fee to play in that league. Yeah, and so they'll, basically, it's just gonna be a flow through, is what it's gonna be. We're just gonna charge the kids that, cause there's no transportation or anything, there's no coaches this first year.
But that seemed like it was more than $100 though.
It was like 125, I think.
What was?
The
The league fee?
Right?
No,
But I
it's not
think-
gonna be.
But I think that he was gonna scale
Yeah.
it back.
My conversations with Steve Morgan were, he was gonna charge us based on the team rather than the kid.
Okay,
So-
so I was just curious how
Yeah.
that $100 fee fits in, and then
Yeah.
it's capped, but yet we have money going out
Right.
to an outside league versus
Mhm.
our own
Mm-hmm.
district.
So we might bet it, like you said, it's gonna be $100 to our kid
Yeah.
through the school.
I just thought in the past, so that league has cost more than $100
It
per
has.
It has, it has,
And
it has.
so,
And that's been that was my conversation with Steve, cause it's based on they did always per player, $140 I think this past year is what it was.
it seemed like-
We talked about, he talked about charging us, a flat rate for a team rather than per player, so,
I just was curious how that fit into the fees and
Mhm.
the cap and.
yeah.
So, one other question. FFA, is that a one-time activity, or do we pay that 3 times a year?
It's yearly, it's a
It'd be
one
one
time,
time.
once a year, yeah. Yep.
And, you know, FFA usually is, as they go on, I mean, like I said, the initial thing is to take care of
It says
the national
it's well,
dues,
so
state dues, the local dues. And when they run into trips like state convention and things like that, it's additional cost to the individual kid that is applied to the cost of the event.
We'll just leave that.
Yeah. Okay, anything else on fees? And so what we'll do is I'll just clean that family maximum K-12, I'll figure that out, whatever and make that clear. So it's, okay? All right, the next change is until page 31, and it's just a quick addition in the use of tobacco to include vape pens and e-cigarettes. This world we live in now, we thought we better add that.
Per our recent newly approved school board policies that we did some time ago.
Page 32, in display of affection, we added wholesome relationships there, rather than, I think before it said boy-girl relationships, we put wholesome relationships. Added in for some dress code, just some language in there for on page 32, strapless tops, not allowed, and then page 33, number 11, we just put a whole bullet in there for undergarments should be covered at all times. Just do that in
You're
there.
gonna have to define undergarments, just so you know. You're gonna have some argument on that one.
Electronic devices, we just updated, we add just a part of a sentence in there to update, unless used for educational purposes with instructor's approval. Because I think there's many times in the classroom where kids will be allowed to get their cell phone out to do some research or to look something up. And so we wanted to reflect that in the policy, that that's allowable if a teacher allows it.
If an undergarment isn't under anything, is it an undergarment anymore?
You don't have girls.
It's in-
I can tell.
It's not the chicken and the egg.
It's an outer garment.
Trying to encourage
I thought it was.
settle.
Okay.
Can we just, take that out?
What? Which one?
How'd you come up with the word wholesome relationships?
Well, why do we encourage them at all? Why can't we just take that out? We encourage, and just leave it as inappropriate displays of affection will be subject. Foster desire.
So just take out that whole sentence, we encourage all wholesome relationships?
Couldn't we? I mean, that wouldn't change your handbook at all, would it? It would,
No.
I would.
Works for me.
Matter of fact, we should discourage all those. Bad. Any relationship.
Yeah, just maybe not even go down that road, just,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I mean, I understand if it said something before that what you were doing, but
yeah.
it really is a moot point.
Strike it from display of section. Okay. I'm good with that.
Put a line through it.
We're not matching that color.
Okay, page 34.
It's not farmers anyway.
Page 34 just added,
Farmers only.
just changed some names in there on the top. On the bottom, in there, it has been in this policy that freshman athletes may not participate at the varsity level in those sports. We took that out. I'm not sure why that was in there. I don't know that what the purpose of it was, and in a school this size, I'm not sure that needs to be in there, nor should it be in there. So we took that out of there.
Well, that was broke a lot when I was coaching.
And yeah, I don't know why, I don't know.
Or you had to ask for exception, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, it says you had to have parents' permission.
Yeah, so we took that out. Page 35, we added again e-cigarettes and vape pens for participation rules for sports. Obviously, if they're in the tobacco, fall under tobacco, then they would fall under a participation violation, so we had to add those. Page 36, under second violation, we wanted to clean that up a little bit because if you get a second violation, you're eligible for a plan of participation if you request that. And there's some parameters of a plan of participation and that's talked about in that paragraph. But if you get your second violation within the 365-day probationary period of your first, then you're not eligible for a plan. So basically, if you get 2 in a year, you're not eligible for a plan of participation. And so we just wanted to make sure that that was clear in the policy. So we just added that sentence to clear that up.
And then third violation, there is a separation between middle school and high school. They start over as freshmen for their time.
Yep.
So up above, you say, at that time, students must state whether they are going to participate in the following sports season. If they choose not to participate, say they don't want to participate in a winter sport, then they do in a spring sport. Is there any issue there?
It stays. It's the next sport they play.
Next sport they
Yeah, it's the next one. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. 38. This one came up in coaches' meetings a lot, and Rusty and I talked about it a lot. On page 38, the athletic cut policy. I think it said 10 practices before you can make cuts, which I don't. It's hard for me to wrap my head around how that even got in there either. That's 2 weeks of practice, and in a lot of our sports, games either have started or are going to. You don't need 10. 10 practices was way too many. So we cut that down to a minimum of 3 days of practice before cuts could be made. I think coaches, they can make those decisions after a minimum of 3 days of practice. So we added that in there and took out the 10 days or 10 practices.
So a minimum of 3, but if they want to wait that first week, they could.
They can.
That's the coach's
Exactly.
discretion.
Yep.
We didn't want to have to wait till after the first volleyball match to make cuts.
Right.
Yeah.
Might look kind of bad. Based on the performance last night. You're done.
Over to page 39, we added in basically double practices for any sports. We just added in that they have to follow all OSA requirements as outlined in the handbook. OSA has their practice models and their requirements of daily doubles and how those things have to operate, and so we just added that they have to follow that handbook. And then at the bottom, number 4 there of that section, same thing, just shall adhere to all OSA requirements on practice sessions.
We put our handbook online, right?
Yeah.
So can we put the link there to that handbook so people can get there?
Oh yeah, I'm sure we can add that on there.
Because otherwise they're going to call you and ask for that handbook.
Well, I mean,
It's online.
yeah, it's all
It's
OSA,
search.
yeah.
There is a link to the OSAA website on our website already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Not Facebook, right?
No. Website.
And then, the top of page 40, the OSA, what we did there is we had to update eligibility guidelines for OSA. You have to be on track to graduate, and they outline how many credits you need to have at the end of each year. We just need to update that with some credit changes and stuff from the last couple of years. So we had to make sure that we were in compliance there and that those matched. So that's what that is. We added that in to say how many credits they needed at a given year to be OSA eligible. 42. Another hot topic with coaches and is the off-season gym use. Rule of 2, we just added in that open gyms will be open to students not participating in a current sport. And before, that was it. It was kids that weren't in a current sport, which caused some heartburn for folks that, my kid is playing a sport but still wants to go to an open gym, and coaches were on board. And so we added in that open gyms will be open to students not participating in a current sport or current athletes with approval of in-season coach of current sport being played. So they got to have permission of the sport that they're in to go to an open gym if it's in season. Additionally, if a player quits a sport halfway through, if somebody quits Rusty's football team a month into the season, they're not allowed to go to open gyms for basketball until basketball season starts. And that's what the rest of that says. Basically, they're not allowed to work with any coach until the sport that they quit concludes. And then no coach will work with more than 2 outside of a designated sports season. That's an OSA rule of 2. So.
When you speak of open gyms, what are you speaking
of? Our basketball open gyms, when a coach shows up in his open gym and they go in and play.
Okay, but an outside group that opens a gym up?
That's community play.
If it's
I guess that's my point.
That's different, and at that point, if we want to make that available for students to do, which I have mixed emotions about, having kids that young playing with, 25, 28, however old you may be, men, I'm not sure that's a good idea for some of them.
I haven't played for the last 8 weeks because I've been hurt.
It's a bad idea for you too.
I've been getting hurt. No, I guess that was my point, and that, how do we, what point are we regulating outside activities that are community activities versus school activities?
If our coaches want opening the gym, it's a school activity. If he's not opening the gym and it's community play, and that community play allows those kids to come in, then we wouldn't regulate that. We don't want to be in that business of regulating that. They're okay to quit a team and do that if they like. But we're not going to make our coach available for them to work with somebody when their commitment's not going well in one sport.
I understand that. I just want to make sure that was
But what if they're,
clear.
so when they open it up and you're calling it a school sport, is it a practice
Nope.
that you're?
Nope.
Cannot be a practice.
Nope, not a practice.
It's a recreational opportunity for our students in our school.
So maybe I don't understand why you don't want them to participate. I understand if they quit one sport, but maybe that wasn't what they thought it was gonna be, they didn't wanna play it. I understand you don't want them to go and get involved in another sport, and maybe they don't commit, but why not allow them to play? To keep them from doing something else.
For example, let's say basketball's not going very well.
Whatever it is.
Girls' basketball's not going very well. Let's just say, for example, that halfway through the season, and there's 4 or 5 girls that are softball players, and they're going, you know what, let's just start, let's bag this, let's start getting ready for softball. We're gonna start, instead of putting our energies here, we're gonna go to open fields, batting cages, whatever's open, start doing that instead. Well, that's not following through on a commitment. And we're not gonna make our coaches available to do that, to pull athletes from in-season sports, just because it's not going the way they want it to go at that time, or whatever the reason may be. It may not just be because the sport's going well, I'm not getting the playing time I want, so I'm gonna bag this and start getting ready for the next sport. I don't think we're teaching kids the right things.
I have mixed emotions on that. If you saw a pattern or you had a kid that did that,
Well,
but if you had one,
a key difference is to work with any coach. So that's what they're.
But that's what I don't
That's
understand.
what
If it's not a practice and the coach isn't working on skill base, but they're open the gym for kids to come and play, then that's maybe what I don't understand.
The other thing though, you gotta remember is the coach may allow them to do it as an additional open gym to the sport they're playing. So if they're out for football and they wanna go shoot baskets at night in an open gym, the coach may allow it.
And I do, and the reason that I wanted this rule
It's
changed
not
is
like it's
because
completely out.
I've had,
But once they quit the sport,
yeah,
you know, and say, I just wanna focus on basketball because
They can
I'm
go play
ticked
community
off or
play.
whatever, I'm not playing enough.
Well, that's where, you
There-
know, it comes down to a pattern. You're gonna maybe have that kid, but then if you had something that didn't work out and it didn't work out, but they wanna go get involved in something else, it's a small town, there's no movie theater. I mean,
It doesn't say he can't go shoot baskets. It says, if a player quits a sport, that player is not allowed to work with any coach until the sport they quit concludes. That's all it's saying. It's not saying they can't go do something.
They can have community play.
Right.
They can go to any community play type basketball situation.
okay. I guess that's just how I interpreted it, that there wasn't a practice, and it was kind of a community play, but
There's
we
open
weren't.
gym, there's community play.
There's a
and
difference.
Community play affords a lot of opportunities for
Yeah.
folks to use our gyms and things like that.
And it's a chance to play with your kid, you know, I mean, it's
Correct.
family time, so that isn't anything we're just talking about a
Okay.
coach pulling from the sport that's going on. The other thing is injury. That's why we don't.
I think the
play
main thing
football
though
anymore.
is supporting the coaches,
Yeah.
Exactly.
And season coaches.
and season
absolutely.
coaches,
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's the whole
and
thing.
prior to this, kids that were in season were not allowed to go to any open gyms.
Mhm.
And I wasn't a fan of that because I need basketball players on my football team. And I can get them out for football if I allow them to still go to open gyms, but if I say, no, I don't want, I know you're a basketball star, I don't want you doing any open gyms, they're gonna say, well, then I'm gonna play football, I'm gonna concentrate on basketball.
Yeah, we
And
don't
I
do
think
that
we're
either.
too small to do that, I think we need to share our good athletes
Yeah.
Agreed.
and give them those opportunities, and you know what, to me, if the kid's really into basketball during the middle of football, he's gonna go somebody's backyard and play, that's not supervised and get hurt. I just soon have them down at the gym in an open gym where at least there's someone there making sure kids aren't throwing elbows and safety's
Right,
in there, so that was the intent of changing it.
okay.
And just to reflect what Rusty just said, we also struck item F on open gym policy out of there as well. Because it said just for kids participating, or no, it was only for kids not participating, so we took that out. Page 43, we just took out a sentence that said awards for individuals are not recommended below 9th grade. We haven't been doing that. So we took that out because we can give middle schoolers awards. Page 45 is some cleanup on the language for National Honor Society, some of the requirements. One of a decimal point got left off for the cumulative GPA that is needed. So we added it to, it said 3.7 before, so we had to add 3.75 on there. And took out some things that were not, that were no longer accurate to meet the National Honor Society requirements.
So how are they selected? By
Well,
the advisor?
it's 3.75 or higher will be invited to apply after the first semester. The application includes a short essay regarding the student's academic achievements, extracurricular leadership, blah, blah, blah. Students not selected for membership may consult, and then they're selected from there by the advisor.
Okay. Because what you took out told us how they got.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying.
So the question raised a while ago, do we have any other clubs besides FFA? I see we have archery posted in here and science club. Do those still exist?
They're not active. I would hate to, the capability I think is there, but they're not active right now.
There's a lot of youth in archery right now though.
Mm-hmm.
It's gaining ground.
Right.
The 4-H level is very impressive.
So, okay. 46, and I think the last change is just a number 2. DMS dances will end by 10. I think we only had 1 this year and it went to 10. I think before it said 9 or 9:30, so we just extended that to 10 is all. If there aren't very many of them, but if there are any.
And during those dances, we will not promote wholesome relationships.
You should have next to
You can check.
No player supply. Right, let's keep it.
So those are our changes, and I will strike that sentence of wholesome relationships out of there, and then I'll clear up that, thing with the
Yeah.
fees. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
Guys have any other questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Hamilton. Mrs. Turner?
We need to have a
Thank you, go ahead.
motion.
Oh.
Yeah, you need to,
Sorry.
say the motion to approve it as amended.
Okay. Do you guys have any motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the DMS LHS handbook for 2016-17 as amended.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now,
Alrighty. The very first page is just a welcome letter, and there were just some changes in language that I just tweaked it a little bit. Last year, I used Mr. Cahill's welcome letter, kind of verbatim, I just tweaked it, made it a little more my own this year. Are there any questions on that? Pretty basic stuff. Okay, and then on pages 2, 3, 4, and 5 are just supply lists, and we have our teachers update those every year. Just if they are thinking that they were short on one supply or needed a little more of something else. Those are updated by the teachers. You have questions about supply lists? Okay. And then we're still in the process of interviewing for the staff listing on page 7. So that will be updated as soon as we're done hiring.
Well, that's the last thing I commented at the last school meeting, and I hope we would have some recommendations this evening, and hopefully we do that. Hopefully next time.
We're getting closer. And then, if you turn to page 13, well, actually 9 and 13. On page 9, there's some reflections on some changes. When we did our Division 22 audit partway through the year, Union was short a few minutes, and so we just are we made the change then. But this reflects the change in the handbook of when their release time, it went from 2:30 to 2:35, I think. Yeah, to 2:35 for Union dismisses at 2:40 now, and so they just needed a few more minutes in their stay to meet their seat time, because we don't receive buses out there from town because we bus kids out. It makes our start time just a little bit later, and we needed a few more minutes on the other end for them. You have questions about the schedules?
I was back on page 7 on your certified and classified staff. What does .5 mean next to?
Half time.
Got that too.
So Mr. Lamon's half-time?
Well, he does a half day in the classroom teaching reading and social study for science, and then he's half-time PE.
Oh,
So he's listed in 2 places. He's under certified support staff, he's a .5 there, under physical education, and then 5th grade .5. He and Desiree Chavez share that position.
thank you.
Uh-huh. All right, are we good up until the page 9 and the daily time schedules with questions? Not seeing any head nodding, so I'm gonna go ahead. And then we go to page 13, and there was a this is called the Parent School Communication Complaint Procedure, and we just needed to have the right names on there. And so I updated Jesse, Rusty, and myself, and Mr. Cahill, superintendent, they weren't all correct. And then on page 19, we had some issues this last year. Well, we've had them for several years, multiple years actually. Our kids release at 2:30, but the high school doesn't release until 3. So some of our older kids, instead of getting on their bus and riding the route around town, they were walking up to the high school and DMS and causing problems up there. So we changed the wording for student arrival and departure times and just bolded that students are not allowed to walk to DMS LHS without written permission from parents. Because what happens is we have a few of the teachers' kids that are walking up there, so the other kids kind of feel like it's a free license to go up there and kind of loiter and hang out. And we had a couple discipline issues that came out of that, and so I wanted to make that a little more clear to parents that that was not okay.
So if I see them, I can send them back.
You send Maggie to me.
No, not mine. I see others.
They shouldn't be on campus at all unless they have a written permission for that day or they are, a teacher's kiddo. But, you know, we've had to be a little bit lenient because at different times we've had track and those kids are walking up there and the high school teachers, the staff ends up doing a short amount of supervision when those kids, we ran into the same thing when we had wrestling, at 3:15 or so. Those kids were getting out, they go to the locker rooms, and we wanna make sure that if they're there, they're being respectful of their class time, and we need a little more parent communication in that area.
So will you point that out at registration? That's a pretty big change, actually.
It's always been our policy with our parents. We've just never had it in the handbook. So I think teachers reinforcing at orientation day is probably our best bet to get that information out to them. If that's okay, Stephanie.
Oh, yeah. No, just at some point it needs to, handbook changes don't always get noticed.
No. And then on page 30, we changed some criteria for some awards. Our 5th grade academic award was based on OAK scores, was one of the qualifications. And we don't take OAK tests anymore, so we tried to clean that up and make it a little more clear to parents what kind of awards they were eligible for and how they worked. And so we went, for example, in the 5th grade, students in the 5th grade are eligible for presidential academic awards. And this is based on a website for presidential awards, it's not something we made up. But we don't get confirmed Smarter Balance scores in time to do this. OAK scores were instantaneous, they showed up on the screen, we could use those as a criteria. But Smarter Balance scores are all preliminary until the summertime. So we needed to take those out and then just use GPA instead.
With the change No Child Left Behind in the education reform this year, we're not even certain what the assessment thing is going to
Bless you.
look like. So, anyway.
Oh, I'd say if we don't know by the end of the week, we don't.
So I'd say we go by this for the time being, and
Should be.
hopefully sometime, and, you know, I kind of periodically report to you on that. So hopefully sometime this year we will know what curriculum's gonna look like, what the assessment thing is gonna look like, and instruction in general across the board.
So our apologies to teachers. How do you do? That's terrible.
But right now, we operate status quo this year until, you know, until the Oregon Department of Education tells us what direction we're heading.
So those are the changes that I made. They really weren't any huge ones, but we'll add a kindergarten teacher as soon as we have that hire done, and I'm hopeful that I can bring that to the next board meeting for approval. And then the staff handbook I'd like to bring to you folks a little bit later in the year, primarily because when we put this new phone system in, we're going to have to write a hostile intruder drill or a protocol that matches what we've got, and our current one doesn't. So I'd like to wait on that until we have a plan and then bring that back to you.
And of course, we're gonna be on the same page with the high school and the middle school too.
Right. So we'll work together. We'll do our best.
So Susan,
Yeah,
on page 13,
yeah.
halfway down, the first number 1,
Just a-
I was just wandering around here and lost in the student handbook and I noticed. it
A
should
typo?
be Address
Your
your
student.
student, not you student.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I move that we approve the Fremont Hay and Union Student Handbook as presented with the correction.
Correction.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jesse,
Should've went second.
Appreciation, Jesse.
You're supposed to ask the stuff that to see my player.
Pardon me?
I forgot 11:3 and 11:4.
to move into them, and last week we approved, or last meeting, we approved your calendar for next year, and we're gonna approve your leadership.
Yeah.
So there you go. And you may nominate Ford and take it through the motion process and go from there, so.
And you don't have to have a second on the nomination, just so you guys know.
Can we nominate?
This is a board meeting, sir.
Everybody's here, so nobody is odd man out and gets nominated.
Gets nominated.
It's usually how it goes.
What's the question?
You're nominating.
Board chair.
You're
I
nominating
think
board
it's
chair
it's
first.
a two-year term usually, so.
Oh,
Is it
that's
rather
so
just for
sneaky.
you,
That was
to make
pretty
stuff
good.
up?
Was for me.
Oh,
Certainly make a
2 to 10.
nomination.
She'll do that.
I'll nominate you.
yeah, I'll do it again. There's a lot to learn, if you guys don't mind. If you'll be.
Oh, I don't know. I was just about ready to say I would do it.
Yeah. So,
Do I need to make a formal motion to nominate her?
Yeah.
I move to nominate Stephanie as board chair for year
2016,
2016-17.
I'll second.
okay,
Third,
Damn.
whatever, or then.
do we have to take, it just,
You need to vote.
oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you. Vice chair? I don't need any.
It was fine. I had to do one meeting, probably squeak another one out.
Well, one more year and then, then you're,
Then I'm in. Huh?
yeah,
All right.
unnominated.
Formal?
Yes. Before she could say no.
Call for a vote.
Call for the vote.
Oh,
Motion.
all in favor?
Question.
Aye.
Aye. There we go. Okay.
Vice chair?
You wanna be the vice?
If
vice,
we're
vice?
both deathly ill, it's
Yeah,
Dustin.
there's vice.
Okay.
They're both ill, we'll cancel the meeting.
Sounds good.
Okay.
You know, I read through a lot of this.
So ready for the consent agenda.
Consent agenda for approval.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
We're gonna add with the amendments to that,
Amendments to the policy.
one policy.
With amendments to policy
GCDA.
GCDA
CDA/GDDA.
/DDA. There we go. Moving forward.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Announcements.
Mrs. Ferguson and I will be attending the summer board conference this week. She will be attending the Friday session. I will be going to the Saturday and Sunday session, so we'll bring you back some good information on next meeting.
Next board meeting agenda item. Teacher
Staff,
hires.
Mrs. Melsis, resolutions or anything like that? What have we got?
No,
Any
I've got
more-
one
any
through
more
16.
approvals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got hers.
We have a plan course statement on for class.
I'm sorry.
Our plan course statement for class. I believe we have to do that.
Is this not till the 11th?
Yeah, I think our next one's August 11th.
We don't have the July thing.
We don't.
August 11th, it's not a Monday, is it?
August or something.
August
I
11th.
would like to bring you to work session for the next meeting, the beginning of the goal, of my goals for District 4.
August, Thursday.
So the 8th is a Monday.
The 8th,
August
yeah.
8th is
Eight.
their next board meeting.
Okay.
Today's
So,
the 11th. So work session.
And I
Goals.
hope we bring you some teacher hires.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear your work session.
I would like to bring the beginning of the goal planning for the 2016 school year for Lakeview School District 7 in my present.
And you guys are gonna be really excited, but we're gonna have OSBA policy recommendations, the June ones are just gonna come in for July, so.
Okay,
Can't wait.
policy.
We should have pop-up.
Did we go to easily the end of August? Is there something?
No, you mean the district, like last year, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Do an avid.
There
Not
was
this,
something.
not
Like
this
a
year.
report from the San Diego
ES
trip and stuff,
ESD usually ramrods those things. Last year, the entire staff went to Paisley last year for instructional strategies and student engagement with Marshall Moyer.
That's what it was.
It was
Okay.
it was a county-wide event.
Okay.
I've been in.
So it's not an annual thing.
No, I've been in communication a lot. Another thing for the next agenda, the in-service week calendar. We'll put that on there. So I'll present the in-service week calendar at the next meeting. We're pretty ready to go with that. However, Mr. Nash, yes, it was a very good, productive day. It was good to collaborate with all our, community partner school districts and everything, but Mr. Nash does not have anything planned this year in that regard. At least for.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if it was an annual thing. I just was.
No,
Not
it was-
far away,
It
it's
was
just
actually,
December's flying.
it was the first ever thing where we.
Marsha Moyer is coming back in September, but she's doing a 3-day stretch.
She
at
is,
school.
she is, and I'm laughing at her.
I think it's September 21st to the
Our meeting's
24th,
so
where she's
fast,
gonna
so
have Christmas Valley Paisley here.
I'll bring you a Marshall Moore report for the next meeting too.
And then,
That wasn't too bad on it.
I just kind of, just right across this over, that's what I was trying to.
Yeah.
changes that.
Now, you're not gonna be here on the 22nd. That's not before, that's the week
When is
before
your
the
parents
parents.
meeting here? Okay, so that won't be on any.
Seems like you usually miss something.
So that's all I have.
You'll be in Germany after. Okay. What's that?
That's all I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
My 6th grade teachers won't be able to.
All right.
Have the training, 'cause they'll be gonna.
Just so you guys know, there's thank you cards up there that you requested the last meeting for, the county road department and, the town manager for the work that they did at AD Hague for the concrete, or
The safety of the
Asphalt.
kid.
removal of
Yeah.
asphalt, so
County Road
those are
Department and,
town of Lakeview.
so don't leave till we sign. Okay, do I have a move?
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.
Hey, Rebecca.